to the Cinementalists. Noun, plural. Definition, those whose love for movies runs so deep, they can't help but do a podcast about them. Hosted by Colton Robertson and Joseph George. Hello everybody and welcome in to the Cinementalists and happy Valentine's Day. Let's talk a romantic movie, a hopelessly romantic movie today, and If Beale Street Could Talk. It was released on December 25th, Christmas of 2018, written for the screen by Barry Jenkins, adapted from the novel of the same name by James Baldwin, and directed by Barry Jenkins. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And yeah, I signed you up for a tearjerker here. I know I enlisted this one. I was like, you know what? You got to watch If Beale Street Could Talk. We're looking for that Valentine's Day movie. We're looking for something romantic. And this is nothing if not romantic, I would say. How are you feeling on the other side of it?
Yeah, it's lots of tears, that's for sure. It was at many different points, but worth it. Very, very worth it. And it it got even some sinus clearing effects from it. Like it was even a productive cry, literally. So, but no, it was beautiful. Like this, it was just I did not know what I was getting into at all. I guess the hint of that it would be a little heavier. We discussed the lighter movies that we picked, and it's gonna get a little heavy. But so I knew it wasn't probably the happiest movie, but oh my god, no, it was. I feel like it on the surface it feels like it's only bad, or like there's no what's the point, or where. There's no happy ending, but there's so much good and positive feeling during the movie, and just their family moments that they have, or just the little, I don't know, where even in the worst case scenario, in just things that I wouldn't even think of to be problems in the first place, for me, or something like that. It's just they passed, they just have to live through it, and they have to do just still. I don't know. It's just there's so much going on here, and there's beauty in everything. I think is where even in these.
And it is a gorgeous movie, by the way. I mean, beautiful to look at.
Mm-hmm. I mean, actors and everyone, the people.
Yeah, everybody.
Too.
Everybody's beautiful. Yeah,
whoa.
Everybody's beautiful. And then they take one of the most beautiful men that I've ever seen in something else and make him just a grotesque monster in this, which is Ed Skrein as the officer. Officer Bell is Dario Naharis in Game of Thrones, the original Dario Naharis, prior to Michael Huisman. Yeah, same fucking guy who's like a fucking Adonis, a Greek Adonis in Game of Thrones is a nasty piece of shit in this. No, but so yeah, there's that. But then you go down the line, you got Kiki Lane and Stephen James and Regina King and Coleman Domingo and Teyana Paris and Dominique Wilkins. Dominique Wilkins is not her name. Dominique Thorne. Dominique Wilkins is a legendary basketball player for the Atlanta Hawks. Very off base there. She plays Riri Williams, Ironheart in the Wakanda Forever. The daughter, the sister of Fonny, and the one of the less likable daughters.
Oh yes,
got some stuff going on over there.
Yeah, that's okay. It's just their mom. They're reflections of their mother.
Rough
I
time
think there a little bit, but even the engineer in the Eternals. Oh my gosh,
Brian Tyree Henry, man. God damn, he goes in.
Oh my god, coming
his
in.
scene is perhaps the hardest, one of the hardest cries in the whole movie. And that's one of the things that I do just genuinely adore about this, is that I watched this movie for the first time coming up on 2 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but it's coming up on 2 years ago, and I read the book just a couple months ago. The book it's adapted from by James Baldwin, because James Baldwin's one of the most brilliant American writers ever. a talent beyond comprehension. And I knew I loved this movie. I wanted to see where it came from, and it's insane how well adapted it is. Like, amongst, when I think of like the pinnacle of book to movie adaptations, this is up there with them for me. It's Little Women, Greta Gerwig, Fellowship, Peter Jackson.
Oh yeah.
This, and beyond that, I don't even really know where to go from there. Those are my top three, I think. I don't know what order, but those are just, as far as adaptations are concerned, of being fulfilling to the source material. Those just do it to the max, and it's really, really wild to have read the book and be like, obviously I watched the movie beforehand, so I have that image in my head of the people playing these characters and all that stuff, but I genuinely cannot imagine anyone else playing these characters. Like, the casting is absolutely insane, just beyond your wildest imagination. How could you possibly have gotten it this right? It's insane. And one of my favorite casting choices is Coleman Domingo. I am a huge Coleman Domingo fan. I think he is absolutely brilliant in pretty much everything he's in. A top front runner for the Oscar and Best Actor this year for his role in Sing Sing, which we have not had the ability to watch anywhere yet here in Kansas City. But yep, next month he could be winning an award for a movie we have not had the ability to see. Regardless, he's always so good, and him being the loving father figure, down to ride, do whatever it takes, and accepting, and it's so good. You know, whenever that scene comes up where Regina King, also goddess amongst mortals,
yeah,
sits the whole family down, and he's gonna. She tells them that she's pregnant and everything, and he takes a second, he makes sure she's okay, and then he's like, "God damn, can I tell Frank? Can I tell Frank? I hope it's a boy. That'll just tickle. That'll just tickle him. I loved it, man. And that's why, like, you're right about the balance. It's a bleak picture with a lot of really, really glimmering moments of hope, and I think that's what's really, really important.
Yeah. I mean, because dealing with in our family just a baby that came a little earlier, and just how it throws a wrench into everything. And then just after it's all said and done, like, we're 5 years down the line, and it's just been nothing but love and nothing but great and awesome. And it's just it felt, I don't know, this is even, we had a very great situation. We didn't really have worries about bringing that child in. So, like, there was never that. So, like, having this, like, whole different picture, and then throw in, I still can't believe Dario Naharis is the cop, because, oh my, like, one of the most punchable faces. Like, I didn't even register that it could be Dario there.
Disgusting.
Like, just like the freaking. He just had a smug,
the smirk,
just like
the fucking smarmy, shit-eating grin on his goddamn face. Oh my god, what a fucking cunt! Great acting, incredible performance of that.
Gotta
character.
give it to him. Almost
gotta
makes
give
me
it
want
to
to
Ed
send
Skrein.
real life
He's very,
threats
very good
to him. It's like almost good enough to, like, the Joffrey treatment, that people were given.
Yeah,
but
it is that good. And I mean, like, the supporting cast is insane. We obviously get Diego Luna. We get Pedro Pascal at one point in this movie.
That's true.
It's kind of insane what the sort of faces that pop up back in 2016, a little bit, or 2018. This is after Rogue One, which is kind of crazy too to consider. Diego Luna just looks so young to me for some reason in this movie. And Pedro Pascal obviously is done up in a way that he is, and I'm interested in portraying Pedro Pascal the way they do in this, because in the book, his character is supposed to be about the same age as Fonny, and Fonny's 22. And 5-6 years ago, Pedro Pascal is not a 22-year-old man. But that's where I'm like, maybe they are trying to age him down a little bit, and that's why he kind of looks like that. Just real smooth and soft, I don't know. It is kind of interesting, but I didn't know that about the character until I read the book, and it was like, oh, that character is supposed to be the same age as Fonny, which is supposed to kind of tug at his heartstrings and kind of be like, you know, what if your life was thrown away for something you didn't do, and all this good stuff, you know, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, and that's why I'm like, it's a really impressive adaptation. It's beautifully written. The voiceover is incredible by Kiki Lane. I think that she brings so much. I don't want to say naivete because it's not naivete. She obviously has a really keen understanding of the way things work. But it's that hope, you know, that hopeful sadness she brings to the voiceover, where she's explaining things as though they've already passed and they've already happened, because they have, you know, but like the omniscience of a narrator, I feel like she does a really, really good job of making you feel everything you're supposed to feel just during voiceovers when she's explaining Fonny's, you know, his love of things. His love of, you know, woodwork, you know, all I got is this wood and stone. When she's explaining that, you get the sense that that's going to be taken away from him just in her talking about it, you know. You get this, and you know, because the movie starts with him behind glass and everything, but
yeah, I don't know.
like,
I was still holding off.
Sad
there was
acceptance,
still...
but hopefulness. It's a bizarre blend of emotion she's able to portray, and she does a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I will say her like thinking of it now, it makes the ending probably a lot more less happy than I was thinking. Like it just seems that she already knows her future, and that's, I guess, I was just in my head. I had the worst like thoughts that were going through. I was like, I didn't know where we were going. So like on my first viewing, it's like it was a relatively happy ending for what I was thinking.
Yeah, he makes it out alive, and for you, that's a happy ending. Yeah.
Yeah, and but no, I mean, still, it's like the sad part is that like, not that it would be better if he was dead. Obviously, you know, it is much better if he is alive. But it's like he can't do what he wants to do. Like, I don't know. It's just like it's almost worse. Like, it's a personal hell. Yeah, it's like it's just. Yeah, I don't know. It's and it's not his fault. Like it's just I don't know, everything around him, and there's nothing he can do. So it's an
institutional racism against him that's just put him in this spot. Like, one of the details in the book that I'm fascinated they don't breach in the movie is that in the lineup that they provide for the woman who was raped, he's the only black guy. And she's insistent that she was raped by a black man. So when he's the only black guy that they are presenting before her, parading before her, even though she has been expressly like, I was raped by a black man. And then they put a lineup with only one black guy there. She has no choice but to pick that fucking guy because there's no other way around it.
I wonder why they didn't put that in.
And so they do a good job of explaining that, you know, sort like just the sort of like they led her down a certain direction, made her pick him, and that was that, you know.
That's true. Yeah.
But man, and that whole sequence with Regina King down in was it Puerto Rico?
Yep. Yeah.
That whole sequence is devastating too. You know, whenever she grabs the cross and she's like, get off me, and she kind of remembers who she's talking to, who she's dealing with, and it's sort of just like they're all victims, and it's just so sad, you know, like that the white cop was able to do what he wanted, take advantage of someone who was vulnerable to put away somebody else who bugged him once, you know,
Yep.
put him away forever because he got on his nerves a little bit one day.
Yeah. And it's like this never-ending cycle of like no one gets closure. Like even the woman who was raped is the man who actually did it is still out there, but she just kind of needed some closure to get through, you know, something. And then the family that is not allowed to be a family anymore because he's stuck in jail or in prison for, I don't even know. Like they just said he took a plea, and I don't know like how like what is that? How long is he in there? Like I guess they like the son knows, or like it seems that like ever since I told him whenever you're gonna get out, like that's all he's been writing down is that what they're referring to? Is that like the date that he's getting out? Is that what the kid's writing down, or am I reading that wrong?
I don't know. I don't. Well, that's another interesting difference from the book. is that this is actually more hopeful than the ending of the book, just because it's at least giving you a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, like it's kind of like he took a plea deal, and that the book doesn't even get to the point where he's convicted. Like it ends with the kid being born, and that's it. Like there's nothing that comes next. He doesn't meet his child in the book. There's nothing else that happens after that in the book. And so that brings a whole other sort of sadness with it, and it allows you to draw your own conclusions. But I do appreciate that Barry Jenkins gives you that sort of hopeful angle. It does give you a light at the end of the tunnel at the end of this movie. However, it's not within reach either. So it still has the same effect where it's like, gosh, where do you even go from here? It does have that same sort of lingering sadness because the end isn't in sight, but there is an end. You know, I don't know. It's a bizarre line to toe, but yeah, like they never give you the deal he did take. You don't know how long it is. You assume it's reduced from life. But if you are reducing a sentence from life, I mean, you're looking at this kid being a grown man probably by the time Fonny's out. You know, like it's still not happy. You know, it's still not the happiest of terms, and it's and that's why it's man, it's a devastating movie. And I remember the first time I watched it, just the score by Nicholas Britell and the photography, the performance, everything. Just all of it combines to create an overwhelmingly impactful, like, first 5 to 10 minutes where, like, I'm already sort of tearing up before I even know the story that's going to be unfolding before me. There's just the way they created the vibe, established a tone was insane. I immediately knew that, like, you texted me a little bit ago off mic that they managed just in the last music that they play, it kind of establishes this sort of, you know, what was the exact? It's the feeling of insurmountable odds being overcome by love in a song. That is what the music sounds like, and how music can sound like that, I don't know, but that is that you put it into words really well for me there. That is immediately what it sounds like. You're like, okay, we're about to get something triumphant. Something that is defying, a spirit of defiance through love, and it sounds like that. It looks like that. The warm tones and the oranges and the reds and the sort of autumnal color palette is beautiful. It juxtaposes Barry Jenkins's work prior to this, Moonlight, which you've probably heard me talk about as well, and it won Best Picture. You've probably heard about it in plenty of other scenarios too. That is a really cold photography. It's blues and it's purples and it's all that. So this coming off the coattails of that, and its warmth, and it's the warmth in the face of a cold oppressor is really, really strong. I think that's using that color palette and that warmth is purposeful. You know, like they're not trying to portray it as cold, alone, blue, sad. There is supposed to be a light at the end of the tunnel, and that orangish hue that kind of bathes the movie gives you it, you know?
Yeah, and the sets and a lot of their clothing too. I feel like this green, like, I mean, almost green screen green, but just very vibrant, and like even Fonny had like a oh, what was his friend's name whenever he came in? I don't know. Like, he was like, oh, you sporting the new threads or something like that. Like, even he noticed it, and I don't know, it was a nice looking shirt. But like there was, and then when I was rewatching, I noticed like there was like a lot of this I don't know, but a nice rich green, and like it did feel like they were trying to just show that even though it should be dark, this movie like should be gray, or, you know, like if it was the true feeling of the situation, but it's like, I don't know, it's not there. That like that fire, it's like almost like it is a fire that's like inside, like keeping it, I don't know, a spark keeping it going. But like the music, like I can't pin it down. I feel like there's one track It's called Agape on the album, and that's the one I feel like I have just heard on like online, and like it's I don't know. I feel like it's the popular one maybe out of the album, but that's not
Right.
the. It was like the later the like just the hum or not a hum, just like the I don't know what instrument this is, but just like a low like it felt suspenseful, but like the feeling that I said in a song, and I'm like, man, I where have I heard this before? And then you said
I
Andor,
want to
and
say it's a
I
violin that you're hearing.
yeah yeah. Yeah. A slow, just strum. That's what it is. Yeah, just the hum, and then like
Yeah.
it's It's I feel. Oh
It's
my
a
god, I don't know. And
long, drawn
uh,
out. Yeah.
and it's. I think it is Andor. Like it is. Like
My
I
money's
can't
Andor
pinpoint.
because
Yeah.
of Nicholas Bertel.
And yeah, I don't know. This man, I think he just has the way of putting that feeling into a song because Andor's kind of that's what it's all about too. Is the insurmountable and just that
Similar spirit.
the
Yeah.
just the hope. It's we I don't know. We're very hopeful, us
Hmm.
humans and man. Yeah, this it just an, anytime I can get a different perspective or outside of my very sheltered life and see because this it is based on a novel and written but like it might as well be true stories written in here
Right.
like these are based on true events like for sure like these are they're it's not
Well,
like complete
and that's where that
fiction and
title comes into play. If Beale Street could talk. This movie's set in New York. It's not. Nothing takes place on Beale Street. Beale Street is just a historically significant black street where jazz music was not born but molded. And it was sort of an image of prosperity, and community, and framing this story set in New York about a black family and their struggles against, white landlords and the establishment and the powers that be, their attempts to overcome it. If Beale Street could talk, this is the story it would tell. And I think that's really, really powerful. If it's
Ooh.
almost like James Baldwin was trying to capture an entire community with the name Beale Street, trying to be like, if our people could talk, this is the story they would tell. And I think that's it's another really haunting and moving sentiment.
Yeah, it's just one policeman, one act of a policeman can touch this many lives, like and that's a singular act, one time, one interaction that he had, and this is probably not the first or not the last that officer
No,
would make, and
yeah,
that is yeah, it is just scary when you put it into that lens of like yes the immediate I don't know the cop one-on-one or whatever it might happen and people say there's like it's just there's bad people everywhere and bad things will happen but it's like it's the systematic part that's like the I don't know or like
yeah,
the specific profiling part that is
yeah.
that's the
The
obviously not good part.
institutionalized racism that is designed to hurt a specific people. Black people. That's it's horrendous, and it hasn't really gone away, which is astonishing. Also, just one of those, the what happened with the George Floyd verdicts and Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin, and those are just in the last decade. One of them as recent as 5 years ago. Like that's horrendous.
Man,
And just last year in Missouri, a man was put to death, and there was people lobbying for an extended investigation because there was seemingly evidence that he might not have committed the crime, and he was put to death. Like that's that happened last year. It's devastating, man. And it's all too real, which is why this movie, like you said, it is fiction. But it's real, It's not some story that you just pull out of thin air, and it's not fantasy. It's real shit, and it's devastating for that reason, man.
yeah, and like even the beginning, I feel like the beginning of the movie I've kind of forgotten about just because I don't know, it all leads to the end, but like how happy it kind of was at the beginning, even though there was a lot of arguments and a lot of tension, of just dropping, hey, I'm pregnant and all of that, what that brings in, and like they who were the people that they brought over? Like was that just extent, like was that just one of the parents, sisters, or brother, like that was one of their aunts or uncles, and that was the relationship
At the
there, or
beginning,
like, yeah.
That was Fonny's mom and dad and
Oh
his
shit.
sisters.
Okay, that's right. Okay, wow. Yeah, that's okay. Now, okay, that makes
Yeah,
total more
it makes
sense.
sense that you wouldn't think
Okay,
that given the way they talk about him.
okay. Yeah, I know. I mean, it was. Well, I guess they're just very, you know, riddled in their beliefs. They're very tied
Mhm.
down to that. And I guess at the end, just she was defeated. She didn't know what to say after the Regina King comeback. At the end of it
Right.
all, but man, no, just like establishing like their family before and showing like how just like normal of a family they are. Like they're like an ideal family. They're all there. They're all like they have some feuds, whatever, but they all, I don't know, they all just obviously love each other, and it's perfect. And then the Fonny's
Mhm.
family, I guess it might not be the best match or whatever, and they don't get quite along, but like there's I don't know, completely normal people that were untouched before this completely, and like
Right.
showing them like growing up, like they're just like they've been these childhood friends forever, and like they, I don't know, just cutting in like
Dude, the
them in
love
the
story is
bathtub and
so
stuff,
sweet,
and it's
man.
just,
It's
and then
so
yeah,
sweet.
just
And the way she narrates it with like there was never a desire to explore each other's bodies. Fonny loved me too much
mm-hmm,
for that. Like that is
yeah,
such a poignant way to put that.
mm,
That is so incredible, or respected
mm-hmm,
me too much for that. I can't remember which way she
yeah,
says, but it's so beautiful, man. And
mm,
this also has one of my favorite sex scenes in any movie, simply because it's one of the most real sex
uh,
scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Um,
mm,
it's
mm-hmm,
incredibly intimate. It's not necessarily the smoothest, It's not like it's not classic
mm-hmm,
movie sex where you're like, wow, these people know what to
mm-hmm,
fucking do. It's real people who do know what to do, but are
yep,
doing it the way real people do it, And I think
mm-hmm,
that's it makes it all the more vulnerable, and I don't know, satisfying is not the right word, but just like earned almost, like it
mm-hmm,
grounded. It makes them
yeah.
feel down to earth, and I really appreciate that.
It's like the rite of passage. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's kind of like
mm,
the real I don't know. The movie experience and having it done up is nice, but like whenever it's like, oh no, whenever they just put the little hints of realism. I don't know. Like when it just cuts to the
mm-hmm.
record, like it's been over for a while. I don't know. It's
Right.
they got through the
Spinning, and you
album.
hear the crackles,
Hey,
and yeah,
that's good on them. Or I don't
respect.
know. At least but yeah, I don't know, it was beautiful, like every time, like it was, I don't know, it was just like in the moment that probably Fonny Jr. Is that official? I mean, he was Alonzo, so I don't know, but
Yeah,
during the birth
yeah,
she did
he'll be
say my
fine.
little Fonny, so okay, yeah, but I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
little Fonny, I feel like we saw whenever the conception happened, and like she even says like, yeah, I know oh, she does say that, was the night that they got the apartment, was that, or that they got
Mm-hmm.
their place, was that the
They got
night?
their
Yeah.
place, their loft.
Okay. So I guess
Not that is not that sex scene. It is a different. It is a.
mm-hmm.
We actually don't
Yes.
see that sex scene.
Okay. So never mind. Okay. So it is
But
different.
no,
But
it's all good
man.
though. It's that I actually recall from the book specifically. That's how.
Man.
There's a few things the movie leaves out just for the sake of time editing, I'm assuming. There's some stuff when they're younger that they don't go into.
Mm.
And there's some stuff at the end of the movie that they don't, or at the end of the book that they don't go into. Like, Fonny's dad commits suicide in the book. Um,
Oh. Whoa.
which is real sad.
Oh man, I could see. I mean, yeah, like he was so worried, like how are we gonna take care of this baby, and like they were even planning on like robbing banks or doing whatever, or just like robbing.
Just stealing the way that they can,
Man.
and getting it anywhere they can, and they do that, and I never asked, they never told me, but I knew, and they knew, and we all knew that this was something we had to do, and again, that togetherness in the face of insurmountable odds, it's really, really moving. It's doing quote unquote the wrong thing for the right reasons, and I think that's beautiful, and I think that makes Joseph, I believe is Coleman Domingo's character, it makes his character all the more impactful that Frank doesn't commit suicide in the movie and does hold it down in the way that he tells him they should. And it maintains Frank's sort of belief in Fonny versus a complete hopelessness that he'd given up on. Where it could be argued that in a movie like this you don't need any more hopelessness than you already have on your plate. But that's the way that it operates in the book is that Ernestine, one of Fonny's sisters, calls Tish and is like really vulnerable for the first time ever with her. Is like, have you seen my father? Have you heard from him? Da 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 da. Like, and she becomes human to Tish for the first time ever. Like, she's always just thought of her as a bitch, and she doesn't get it. She doesn't love Fonny. She doesn't even love Fonny as the way any sister should, all that. But then she's all of a sudden a real person to her, and so like that could have been an interesting detail in the movie. But it is kind of like when you're already looking at, like, the movie's really neat as is, like. There's not a lot of strands left untied. It doesn't feel like... I feel like if you do add that sort of stuff at the end of this movie, it needs to be probably 20, 30 minutes longer so that you can show Frank kind of devolve. And you just don't need that, for a good movie.
Ever since you said the book
it
kind of
stands
ends,
on its own 2 feet really, really well.
You said it ends before he's convicted. That's like, and right when the baby's born, I was thinking of, like, if the movie were to end there, like if it were to end at the birth, like my mind was like, he's like, Fonny kind of like, I'm coming home soon. That whenever he was beat up and he came out, and is that like right before the baby's actually born, or at least close to it? Like, was that the last time that Tish saw Fonny before the baby was born? Like, cause I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
At least in my head, it was like that was his way of saying, like, I'm like, he just spilled his whole, like, everything. He was like, these are my dreams. This is what I want to do in life. I'm coming home. I swear. Like, it's just kind of, it sounded like the ramblings of not ramblings, but just like the talks of someone who feels like they're gonna die he's like, he doesn't know how much longer he has. And so at least when the baby was born, I'm like, that kind of was, at least I thought he was dead for sure. Like, I'm like, they're bringing new life in, and I thought he went out, and because he blurred out, like, right after he gives that kind of speech, he like walks backwards, and it just kind of, he just slowly gets more and more out of focus. And I was like, oh man, I'm like, no,
it feels
I'm like, no,
like,
and so that's why I was like, I was ready for absolute devastation, and that's in. I mean, I feel like that's. I mean, I maybe I still had those feelings, and then it. I don't know. Maybe that is just for the silver screen. It's like people like a generally somewhat of a happier ending, and if you do end it there, I mean, man, yeah, no, it's just rough. I think, like, kind of all around, and yeah, if you throw in a father's suicide too, like, that's like, man, I mean, even crazier, like, because it's there, like, I mean,
it would be, man, and. Yeah, like another little layer that is kind of subtextual in this movie that and that's the thing, is now I'm blurring things that I don't know if I just read or if I also saw. Does Brian Tyree Henry's character go into the fact that he was sexually assaulted in prison in the movie?
I think so. Yeah, he's well,
Does he like
maybe not
allude to it
explicitly.
anyway?
He was like, you just don't know what's going.
Yeah,
Like
where
you
he's
don't
like, there's things that
understand.
they did
Like
to me that you just don't. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you definitely got the idea for sure out of
Well,
the scene.
regardless, he tells the story of the torturous time he had in prison, and he's the alibi for Fonny.
Oh,
So
oh,
whenever they're alluding to the guy who's like they're holding him and they're not letting me see him, it's
yeah.
Daniel too. And it's after,
Damn.
and what that means too is that he's not rolling over on his boy just for the sake of rolling over on his boy either. He's holding it down for him, even though he talked about how much of a hell jail was and how he'll never go back and all that stuff. They got his boy for something he didn't do, and he didn't roll on him. And I think that that's just so fucking cool of that character that they never emphasize. That's just a detail that does exist in the context of this movie. That, I mean, his performance for the brief time he has, man, does he do a good job. I love Brian Tyree Henry, man.
Yeah, it was one of my like possible scene selections almost. Like I was like, it just got me to cry. I mean, it was one of the biggest cries for sure, and it was like just out of nowhere. Like I thought it would come between Tish and Fonny for sure, and then here comes, I'm just thinking like, oh, sick. Like, I know him as, and I don't even know his like in the Eternals, like what is, I feel like I call him the
Festus.
engineer. Is that okay? Yeah, I'm like that's his type, or that's his like character, like what he's playing, but that just didn't feel right. But I don't know, he comes in here, they're just drinking beers, and whatever, and he and just delivers that powerhouse, and I'm like, holy fuck. And then I'm smiling, Diego Luna and Pedro Pascal, they I don't think they came in like he did quite, but it was just nice to see that like everyone was just like, I don't know, it was a cast in which I'm finally like, oh yeah, I do recognize this person from this, or like, and I'm like looking forward to these things with these people. And I don't know, it's cool that I am sort of getting there almost. I'm still definitely not there. Names and stuff are still hard. I don't know, for me. I will forever struggle with the names, but no, this was, I don't know, it was way more beautiful than I was expecting, and I credit it to the music for one, to the orange, I don't know, and the warmth of the just
Gorgeous,
everything, and
gorgeous warmth. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it's beautiful.
God, there are some fucking gems of quotes in this movie too. Whenever Mrs. Hunt is like, I hope you're proud how you raised your daughters. My girls ain't gonna be bringing no bastards home to feed. I can tell you that. And Teyonah Parris's character goes, that's because won't nobody fuck them. That's incredible. Adrian, baby, can I tell you something, sweetie? Ever since the first day I laid eyes on your very fine person, I got caught up in your Adam's apple. Oh, I've been dreaming about it, and I can't tell whether I want to tear it out with my fingers or my teeth. And if you touch my baby sister, I'm going to have to make up my mind real quick. I was like, Teyonah Parris as Ernestine is fucking gold, dude. Like, that is, she just embodies that pride that she has. It's so good. And, I mean, Sharon's got the mother, just, I mean, again, James Baldwin being adapted by Barry Jenkins, a couple of really talented writers teaming up to really do some damage here with I don't want to sound foolish, but remember, love is what brought you here, and if you've trusted love this far, don't panic now, trust it all the way. That's just a great sentiment. Let's see, there was a, I hope that nobody ever has to look at somebody they love through glass. That's just a really moving, sad line.
Yeah, there was
Let's see.
one from Fonny that he was kind of like pouring his heart. I feel like I don't know exactly when this was, but he says, whatever is in me, I didn't put it there, and I damn sure can't take it out.
Right.
And he was just talking about like his love for her, or just like it's there, and he can't explain it, and like it's maybe it was after the police encounter, and it was like, don't try to protect me, or maybe it was that doesn't feel right. It feels like it was more of actually a heartwarming moment rather than like, because that was a lot more tense there. Yeah, I don't know exactly when that was, but I don't know, I like that. And then the other one I had was one you did already say, that love is what brought you here, and if you trusted love this far, don't panic now, trust it all the
Mm.
way. And it's kind of that like, I, not to connect to Interstellar, there's no real connection there, but just like the love is pulling me across the universe in ways
Yeah.
that we can't explain. It's just a thing that we have not figured out. I don't know. It's one thing humans have just, it's there and it's present. We all know it, but it's like, try to explain it, no fucking clue. I don't. It's just
Right.
a mystery. But I don't know. So yeah, it was. And I love that it's in this movie, like the idea of that in the movie, like it's that idea, just that glimmer of just love is just all you need in the world, no matter how bad it can get, and like with that, life can be all right, and I don't know,
Mm.
it's yeah, I don't know, didn't expect to come out of this one as high as I did, but
Oh, dude, I love this movie. Not one I can watch regularly, because I am a puddle by the end of it, man. It's kind of like, and on rewatch specifically, kind of just a steady flow. It kind of doesn't stop. Just kind of from the jump, you're crying for 5 minutes at a time, not sobbing or anything, but just little lines, little looks, little moments where you're like, oh yeah, well, I know that the way this movie ends, it's not great, and there's so much packed into these 2 hours, like, another one of my favorite sequences is when she's talking about her job, and when she's behind the counter, a white man will grab your hand and lift it to his nose like he owns it, while a black man will stick out his own fist and raise it to his own nostrils, and all that stuff. Like, that's there's just a lot of little nuances that I really, really appreciate. And Barry Jenkins, I've watched Moonlight. I've watched If Beale Street Could Talk. He just had Mufasa that came out, which is quite the different step. Definitely funding whatever his next move is.
Yep.
And
That's all right.
I trust this guy. I trust this guy with pretty much anything he wants to do, because man, has he put out a couple of brilliant movies in Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm a fan, that's for sure, and I'm sat for whatever's coming next. And I don't know if that's him or cinematography. If they have like if Moonlight and him if that's the same duo there. If he has someone he sticks with.
I'm not sure. Let's
if it is
see.
all different.
James Laxton shot this movie. He also shot Moonlight.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Andy
So,
shot
okay,
Mufasa. Yeah, it is his. It's his. James Laxton is his cinematographer. The Underground Railroad. That's what they did in between. It's a mini series that they did together on Prime. It's obviously about the Underground Railroad. Barry Jenkins directed that whole thing.
Usual
yeah.
combo, director and cinematographer. It feels like
Yeah.
it's just very important
got a
that
good
they're on the
working
same page.
relationship for sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
but no, yeah, they were on the same page. Like any I love the shots of just whenever Tish and Fonny are just looking at each other, and it just like the camera just flips
the
180,
straight down the barrel,
Ooh,
looking
yep.
directly into it, like you are feeling the full weight of their gaze. It's so good. And there's something so artful about the way attention to lighting black people, because it's not the same as lighting white people. When it comes to dark sequences, like it's something that Jordan Peele has always gotten really right, with with like specifically Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out and Nope. I remember being just kind of like awed by the way he's photographed in those, and I feel like that extends to this as well. And Moonlight. Moonlight's another just unbelievably good looking movie. Just really, really well done sequences where you realize someone really paid attention to how they were supposed to light this scene. And I love whenever things just feel so particular like that. Just a lot of attention to detail.
Ever since I think you said it first in Titanic, with Kate Winslet, that like just making someone look the most beautiful, like on camera or on screen, that's possible. And like I try to look for that in like kind of other movies, and I feel like they like the performances from Tish and Fonda, like they are putting that look on, like they are looking at the most beautiful person they have ever seen, like they are giving that 100%. And I think the camera is also doing them a very, very good job as well. Like it was kind of both.
I agree.
Firing,
and it's really cool too, because the camera in those moments that like you said, where they are looking straight down the barrel at you through the TV. You are meant to be looking on them with the eyes of the person who loves them most.
Yeah.
You know, like you are looking at them through Tish's eyes and through Fonny's eyes, and that's why they look like the most breathtakingly beautiful people alive. And I think that's always gonna. It reminds me a lot of the moment in Titanic where they were doing the spinning thing, and you see Leo, and you see Kate Winslet, and she's the most gorgeous creature that's ever been put on this earth. And whenever Humphrey Bogart sees Ingrid Bergman walk into Rick's cafe, and she's got tears in her eyes, and she's looking at him, and she smiles, and you're like, yes. Whenever Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are saying goodbye at the end of La La Land, and they look at each other and they're fucking gorgeous, like that's the shit. Like, and that's why I'm like, this movie has that, it has that with it. And, I mean, I could keep going with these. I won't, but, TOU and Greta Lee at the end of Past Lives, whenever he's about to get in the car and they're looking at each other, like that's another one that's just like, they are, there's a lot of these. And whenever they do it right, man, does it hit. And more often than not, it ends sadly, which is tough.
But I don't know. It is almost every time.
This ain't no romantic comedy.
No. Yeah, no. It's very devastating. That is at least the word I come back to. But then also, it's like it feels very wrong because it's like anti-devastating. It's like it's anti-devastating. I don't know. It should be devastating, but they're not living like it is. I don't know. Like it's sad.
Not completely hopeless. Yeah.
Yeah. But it almost makes it even worse.
The thing is like that they are accepting their lot. Like it's not like it's
that is the normal. Like that is what
that is the reality they have to accept, and that's really brutal. That is sad in and of itself. Now their acceptance of it is a sign of strength, which you can take solace in, and that's like, and so there's just there's no absolutes, and I think that's something that this movie does a really, really good job with too. Is whenever Levy, Dave Franco's character, kind of being like, I just dig when people love each other, man. Like I don't care what your skin color is. You guys love each other, and I'm gonna hold it down for you. Like something that's really a cool detail from the book is that Levy lets Tish, while Fonny is locked up, stay in the loft free of rent.
Oh, damn!
Because he believes that she can do anything he can. She can do everything she can to get him out, and she doesn't need one more thing to worry about. So that's like that's just another little detail that like there's little character things that when it comes to the book, you just get a little bit more out of everybody. As is the case with most books. If you don't, it's probably not a very good book. And that's another little detail that like but she chooses not to live there most of the time. She wants to be by her family. She wants to be with her people, but she doesn't have to pay rent on the space that he is going to hold for her until he's out, which is cool.
Wow. I guess the baby was born there, in the bathtub.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was there. And I don't know, the wooden statue. I was like, I don't know, it was, he kept coming back to it, and even Daniel, his friend made fun of it, it's something, but I was like, no, that's his, is his woman right there. I don't know, like from the jump, I'm like, no, that is, he's making it. And then like the slow transition shot of kind of, like him spinning around it, looking at it, and then it goes to Tish kind of holding her belly. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it's not, I don't know, but at least I feel like that's at least what they're trying to push.
They're at least paralleling the act of creation, like he created this,
okay.
they created this, and it's sort of a reflection of their child more than it might be of Tish, you know,
I
like
see.
and that's the thing though, is that it's not any one thing, you know, like I said, it doesn't deal in absolutes. I think it's just kind of a representation of his love for Tish and for the life that they want to live together, because that's what Tish says. He's like, the moment I knew Fonny loved me is the day he gave that statue to my mom. You know, like that was when she knew he loved her. And there's just a couple little tidbits like that. Like the first time they go to the Spanish restaurant, and you know, he speaks Spanish with Diego Luna, and she's like, I'd never seen him be him. You know, I've only seen him through the context of other people, and I loved this side of him, and I didn't really know him, but maybe it's because we'd never had a chance. Maybe this was him when he was with me. And I think that like those thoughts about somebody you love are always so fucking beautiful in movies like this. You know, whenever you get to take a moment where I love that this movie is always through Tish's lens. You know, we're never through Fonny strictly, you know, like it's told through her understanding of Fonny, because nobody on Earth has a better understanding of Fonny. And I think that that's what's really beautiful, is that she is the only person suitable to tell his story in the context of this movie. And I think that that's really beautiful too.
Yeah, I mean, she sounded like she was building up the case herself, you know, of like, hey, this walk is impossible from here to here. It is can't be done. Like I thought we were gonna get her in court, like and be like, all right, lawyer, sit down. Let me actually handle this. But you know, didn't really go down that route. The court was just the impossible. You know that
no, we never do the courtroom drama.
There.
Yeah.
And well, I think better. I think that's
the odds are stacked against them.
Didn't go down that route. Yeah, and But no, yeah, it was how I'll say it again, like how can these two people come into work and do this for a movie and then just not like, I mean, maybe this does have so much devastation that you don't fall in love, you know, here, but it's like, how can you just look at someone like that and like just in I don't know, I guess there's not many scenes of them like together in truly loving moments here. But at least this, like story wise, like it's just without a doubt, like it's just you just accept it. Like yeah, they were childhood friends at first, you know, whatever, and they didn't look at each other that way. But then like that one day that it just all changed, you know, and it was like yeah, no, I mean from the very very get go at the very beginning, like they set the scene so well of like how they see each other, and then every family, like you got their characters very very well, like and I guess we didn't dive deeply into them like the books do, but like I get kind of what each of them like kind of stood for without really having too much more.
And that so. I didn't mean to say that we're not diving into the characters by any stretch, but I think that this gets to the heart of them much more simply, you know, and establishes them so quickly. Like that opening scene in the apartment with her whole family, instantly the stage is set. You know what every character in this movie is like. You know what I'm saying? And that's really cool. Like beyond that scene, there's not a lot of nuance with each of these characters. You know, they all display their core tenets in that very first scene where they learn that Tish is pregnant. You know.
Yep.
Ernestine with the hold your head up sister, like, you know, she's prideful, she's proud, you're ready. Joseph's down to ride, he's ready to do whatever for this child, that's his grandkid, he's ready for it. Obviously, her mom is being extremely supportive, instantly being able to shoulder the weight of telling everybody. And then you obviously get a very, very quick, distinctive feeling for the Hunt family. Where Sheila and Adrienne don't really even have personalities because they are just her mom's backup singers. Their mom's backup singers, essentially.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they did, like, when their mom failed, they kind of, like, tried to kind of be like, oh, no, what she actually meant was this. Or, like, let me say that a little better than her act. So it's like I don't know, yeah, they were just getting trained to kind of to be like that eventually, and it's just but I don't know, it would have been nice to know, like have that moment of her like becoming human and real, you know, being like no, like I don't know, getting past kind of all that stuff. or whatever. But I mean,
it would have been.
It would have been a whole lot more.
It boosts Sharon all the more in that moment whenever she's like, regardless of how it got here, that is your grandchild, and that is Frank's grandchild. You know, like we will love it no matter what. It ain't the baby's fault how it gets here. You know, like who cares? We will love that baby. And her heart, I think you'll find that it's still pumping, but it ain't no heart. Frank's he's got a deft hand. The slap was and the whole like Joseph being like, "Whoa, Frank, man, let's not." And Frank's like, "Let's get out of here. Come on, we're going down to the bar. Let's get a couple drinks." And Joseph kind of looking at Sharon, and Sharon being like, "Go ahead, we can handle this," you know. And he's like, "All right, Frank, you know, like, come back here, buddy. We got to chill the fuck out on this shit." That was a bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. I'm a huge fan of this movie.
Yeah. Starting off 2 back-to-back bangers. I mean, I already knew I liked Nope here. I don't know, starting with that one I did know that I was gonna like coming in, but not to disappoint here. That's for sure. We are continuing on the gas, and man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did go here. It was devastating. There were some cries, but no, all very worth it. All very, very, I don't know, good cry, bad,
beautiful,
cries.
Beautiful movie, dude. I love it.
I'm trying to. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say here. Do we mark down favorites in particular, or?
I guess I kind of went through them. I don't know if I explicitly kind of stated them down. But I mean, I had to give the 2 characters here, you know, I don't know, Tish and Fonny. I had to give them the nods. So I gave Fonny the character, and I gave Kiki Lane the performance. And is the way I went down.
Beautiful. I'm gonna spread some love for you here. Then because I'm gonna go Regina King as Sharon Rivers for my performance. I think she's fucking incredible. I think the Academy got that shit hella right when they gave her the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. Incredible choice. And I'm going to go character. And, you know, I'm more than anything spreading the love because I think that Tish or Fonny are absolutely deserving of that. But I'm going to go Coleman Domingo as Joseph. Definitely just a rock that you could lean on in this movie. And I really, we needed that, you know. We needed that. So I really appreciate that character. If I'm not spreading the love, I think it would probably be Tish, just to be straight up. She's fierce, and I mean, Ernestine's fucking incredible too. I love Teyana Paris's portrayal of Ernestine. So it's just a really great cast of characters and beautiful performances, beautiful writing, beautiful movie, man. So I think with that we could probably go ahead and conclude this episode.
Yeah, it's man, I don't know. I guess Alma's Rainbow. I guess next up is this. I can't remember where we're going.
Alma's
with the
Rainbow
here.
is next week. Yes. Yeah. I don't know either. I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
That's right.
This is one that we are taking a blind shot at. This is a leap of faith, if you will. Alma's Rainbow. I'm excited for it. I've heard good things. That's all I have on it, though. I don't know anything about it, so I'm excited. Definitely the lesser known of the 4 movies we have, the oldest of the 4 movies we have. You know, so it's just it's a little. It'll be interesting. I'm excited. Tight 90 came out in 1994, written and directed by Aoka Shinzira. Very, very excited, and So next week we got Alma's Rainbow. Cannot wait for that. We are currently doing a giveaway on Blue Sky. All you have to do to enter that giveaway, you can check it out on Blue Sky at Colton Robertson. There's a graphic in my pinned post that'll give you every detail you need. But basically what it is you have to subscribe to The Sentimentalists on YouTube. You have to download at least 1 episode of the show. You have to send me proof that you did that, and by then, you're entered into the contest. You have the opportunity to win a Criterion Blu-ray edition of either Certain Women or Paris is Burning, and you have the opportunity to win a Letterboxd patron membership, and that it's a game changer for Letterboxd users. It's super cool, so you got to check that out. Let's see. There's other caveats. Every episode you download gets you an additional entry. If you like and repost that post on Blue Sky, you get an additional entry. And if you tag someone in the replies, you get an additional entry. Right now, you can get up to like 40 additional entries right now. And you would almost certainly walk away with all three things. The odds are just really in your favor. Nobody's taken advantage of that yet, although you should, because if you do, you could walk away with all three things, which just seems overpowering. I don't know why you wouldn't want 2 free, brilliant movies and a Letterboxd patron membership, but hey, what do I know? But let's see. Yeah, next week we'll be back with Alma's Rainbow. The week after that, we've got Sorry to Bother You. Very excited to round out this February with a couple of great movies. We will conclude that giveaway on March 3rd, the day after the Oscars. We're going to do a little Oscars recap. We'll go over the winners and talk about our feelings about it and everything. Hopefully we've had a chance to see every movie by then. Like I said, some things have been not readily available to us. They're, limited releases, and, only the festival circuits got their hands on it and all that good stuff. And so we'll see. We shall see. But, yeah, so we got that coming up. And we got a lot to look forward to, man. So just keep coming back. Leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. And, yeah, keep on coming back. With that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, I hope that nobody has ever had to look at anybody they love through glass.